I'm honored to be here. This is super cool. I can stay for a while. Love it, the gavel. I always wanted to be a judge.
When you touch the gavel, you have to be the next president.
I got hit the bell though, right? Is that the thing? You guys hit the bell. What is it? Now, what is this? What is that symbolic of?
If you rang it, we'd all have to leave.
Okay, I'm done. If any of you know me, a lot of you do, I'm relatively transparent. And in real world society, transparency is a non-traditional value that we aren't certain about in the real world. And that makes me not so popular. I have spent nearly a year trying to figure out what about me inspires other people to want to follow me, take the time to comment or like what I have to say. What about me is adding value to the lives of others? And who are the people that are listening? And how can I take the answers that I get to help others? And really, so in the world of social media, I am very transparent. I am transparent in the real world as well. What social media has given to me is accountability. It's made me a doer. You mentioned the pizza people. I go once a month and we feed the homeless in New Haven, and it's extremely rewarding. For me, it shows me the simple thing. 365 days of joy is a lifestyle for us. It's appreciating the simple moments that we all have and we can all appreciate every day. And when you go to feed the homeless in New Haven, it gives you a true sense of what you should appreciate. I take my children with me, and they see, like, we can complain about the gingerbread house and 700 square feet of living, but we may not have any living. So it does. It brings me a tremendous amount of compassion and empathy for humanity. Familiar with Outrun 38, but I met them through the internet. I never met them in person, and we actually invited them to our wedding. And in lieu of gifts, Dennis and I, we remarried. We got married, divorced, and got remarried, just because we love to get married so much. So, he calls it an expensive mistake.
No, it's an expensive argument.
Anyway, so in lieu of gifts, we chose specific charities that we wanted to give back to, that had brought value to our lives, or people in our lives who were suffering that were personally attached to us. And I blogged about that because I really wanted to let people see, like, if you have a direct relationship to, or you feel a connection to a project, whether it be the half marathon or whether it be Habitat for Humanity, if you have a direct relationship with someone there, they're more inclined to want to give. Okay, so, you know, your best friend is passionate about feeding the homeless. Well, yeah, you want to know more because they're probably talking about it all the time. So I've built those relationships online and through our community, and taken those relationships that I had online and brought them into the community. So it's giving back, and I am passionate about small business. I love small business. It would not be strange to see me with a video camera in RJ Julia making a quick video on the cool stuff they have. They inspire me. I love their shop. We got into Opticare. The service was great. We made a fun little video on Opticare. I mean, I went to some insurance company, super cool. Like, people were nice and kind, and I talk about it. And that, I feel like I'm giving back to my community because I'm sharing the small business workers who are working hard, living their passion. And they may not have time to have a voice online, but I can make the time to say something nice. And I don't yell. I don't do any negative. I just don't. I feel like when you put the negative out, the negative comes in. So I've surrounded myself with positive communities. And, you know, I will say something nice. I might make a joke, but not about someone's business, or because you don't really know what's going on in their life unless you live it. So maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they were just having an off moment and they told you to go stick it. I mean, I'm not going to write about it, you know. I mean, it could have just been a blip in the radar. So yes, I try to keep it positive. I love your happy dollars. I'm gonna do happy dollars all the time at home because we did social media. Social media has made me accountable to be a doer, to physically do. So not just talk about it. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool, but then I go do it. I am gonna do the triathlon for Madison JCs. Okay, I'm going to try, quote unquote, a triathlon. And I was joking the other day online about it because I said, who does that? Who just tries a triathlon? You know, but I do. And I got a bike, and I talked about Zanes, and I talked about other bike riders, and before you know it, I have a slew of people who are supporting me and want to go for bike rides with me. That's cool. I mean, bring the positive into your life, be a doer. And what I wrote too was, the reality is, who wants to surround themselves with false ideas or expectations of what every day really is? I mean, who wants to surround themselves with those who turn a blind eye to those who need help? Who wants to surround themselves with those who aren't doing anything to add value to your life? So that really sums up the accountability side of it. Is just, if you're going to be out there and you're going to be blessed to be on this earth, you make someone else's life a little better. Or, you know, be transparent, be honest. It doesn't mean you have to do everything for everybody. Of course, I need to learn to say no half the time. But if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it and put a positive light on it. So I guess one of the hardest parts of social media for me was the reaction. This all comes back into our life, is reaction, how we react to others. That demonstrates and challenges our true character. I remind myself it's not about me. It's about like what I shared, what I commented on, or what I liked that made someone else feel uncomfortable, insecure, or maybe even afraid. It's not. I think you all know this. You know, when someone says something, something inside of us maybe made us feel wounded. It may not have been a direct criticism to you, but somewhere inside of you, it made you feel a certain way. So for me, I had to really recognize that how we write something, we all think differently. So we may all be on the same page, but how you interpret it may be completely different than how I interpret it. So it's just having this empathy and compassion for one another as human beings. Usually going in the same direction. We want the same end result, but how he says it and how I say it are totally different. And that's in social media world. You have to imagine, like, Twitter is this huge cafe. Like, we're in this huge room, and we all have a voice. And you could imagine different kinds of personalities out there. And what social media does, what Facebook does, and what Twitter does, is they feed off of what you're putting out there, and they send you whatever you're saying. So you might comment on someone's isn't running for what, and then all of a sudden you're getting a whole bunch of, we all have a choice, okay? If you don't like what you see, don't follow it. It's the truth. It really is the truth. I mean, people can complain about it because you don't have to read it. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to read it. Of course, like, you know, you think my mom's posts are always exciting? No, I mean, I might scroll through, you know, like, I don't want to see any more cake, okay, you know? It doesn't mean that I unfriend her. Of course, I mean, I know I could be annoying. Like, oh, there's Rachel's selfie again. Just you know, just pass it. This is what I say, you know, for me to do, okay, when I post a selfie, it's simply because I'm holding myself accountable to what or who inspired me, okay? It may just be a matter of someone making me smile, adding a little joy to someone's day, or me showing gratitude for the people or product that helped me. And sometimes, I admit, I appreciate myself. Don't place judgment until you take the time to really know the person's story. When I share something, it's because it's added value to my life, and I'm simply sharing my enthusiasm about it. That's really it. You know, in closing, I said, I share that times are changing. Social goodness is on the rise. And more importantly, we are more accepting of those who may be different or just think differently. I am grateful to be able to share and glad I have found a place where my transparency is appreciated and might just be kind of cool. That's how I left it, and that really sums it up for me. And I just think a couple, people pointed out, you do put yourself in a situation where you're vulnerable, and I'm vulnerable to share, but unless we're vulnerable to share, we are not able to fully love or appreciate other people. So I would rather risk being hurt in life than risk fully living my life, knowing all of those people around me. And that's huge. So, the social media part of it is just my way of staying accountable. And I believe, and this is how I coach, if we don't compete with those that are better than us, we'll never get better. So I try to surround myself with people who are doers, who are succeeding in life, spreading good work, Sue McDevitt, the pizza people, Outrun, cancer survivors, AIDS awareness, Habitat for Humanity. I continue to educate myself and believe that the more work, the good work I do, will make social media more positive because it's not going anywhere. So if I have a voice on here, I'm going to make it as happy as I can and as joyful as I can and help as many people that ask and need help. So, and I think it's important to have for your business. That's a whole nother topic, so we'll come back and discuss that at some point, but go ahead. Yeah.
I'm kind of like the gap generation. There were no computers when I was in school. We got our message of inspiration through the classics and through books, which I have in my library and I refer to all the time. They're already vetted. I find that the knowledge and the wisdom in these books was valid 1,000 years ago, and it'll be valid 1,000 years from now. Whereas a lot of this stuff on social media is dust in the wind, and it's just so much dust in the wind that it blinds you. It's an encumbrance.
Well, okay. So to speak to that, Drake, I love books. I love books. I love self-educating. I love going to RJ Julia. I love going to the library to speak. I love books. There are a tremendous amount of books out there. So if I'm able to speak to the author who wrote that book, to maybe send me in the right direction as to what exactly I'm looking for, people will send me book suggestions through. I mean, I can't call up everybody all day long and say, oh, or spend hours in the library. I can get what I need because people already know what I'm looking for. So for me, it's more of a tool to help me lessen the time I need to look through.
Yeah, I've never wasted a minute
the
in the
Dewey
library.
Decimal System.
I've wasted hours online.
Well, you can, and it doesn't have to be that hard.
And if you go to Instagram and put in hashtag the classics, you'll find thousands of people that have the same passion that you do, that you've done a great job.
There you go.
Right.
Life isn't a race. I want to win. Life is a marathon. I do not want to finish. The epic moment for me today is being able to do the gong. Love it. Love the Rotary.
Now you're the president.